me turn this thing down. So that old woman took over my damn stream. Finally got it back. Stitching time. They're making a possum. Okay. It's so good to be back on my channel. Anyway. Sorry, everybody. I don't know how she got a hold of my stream. You disabled her life alert. Well, somebody needed to do something. I'm back. Okay, let me click on this. It's a little warm today. I know, don't complain. It could be cold. I don't mind if it's cold. Anyway. Alrighty. Let me move my bowl of yarn. You were out of town last night. I wasn't out of town last night. I couldn't get into my stream. Last time I was here was what, Sunday night? No, I had technical show Sunday. Yeah, last time I was here was Saturday night. I'm back. Let's hope it stays this way. Okay, so we're gonna start. We're gonna make the flower granny. It looks the same on both sides, and it's pretty. Can't speak. It's relatively easy to make. So if anybody's crocheting along, let me know. Let me get my instructions. Okay. So if anybody's crocheting along, you need 4 colors. Technically, I guess you can use as many colors as you want. I got a center color, 2 petal colors, a leaf color, and then a border color. And my border color is obviously the same as my center. You could do it however you want. But there's how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a 5-row square. Let me move the fan, even though that's not really doing much. Okay. How is everybody? That. Gotcha, yeah. The heat made me tired. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain. You can't feel your cheeks from thermonuclear hot wings. I don't want to know which cheeks. We're just going to leave it at that. So we're going to chain 4 and then do a slip stitch to make a ring. Or you could do a magic circle. I'm going to chain the 4. And let me zoom in a little bit so you can see. So I've chained 4 and then slip stitch to form a ring like we normally do for a granny. Tonight could be a longer stream. I'm off tomorrow. You make up for your Twitch getting hacked. Yeah, I got a bunch of things to be done. So we've got our ring, we chain 4, slip stitch to form a ring, and then in this we're gonna chain up 3. That counts as a double crochet, and into our center ring we're going to do 15 double crochets, so we'll have a total of 16. Again, that chain of 3 counts as 1. So we're going to do 15 double crochets, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to crochet over my tail so I don't have to weave it in later. So we're getting a total of 16. Remember that chain of 3 counts as a double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, that's 14. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So now we have 15. I'm including that chain, and then we have one more that's 16. And again, I'm going to count again to make certain. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yep, it's a really cute pattern and relatively easy to make. And you can swap up your colors, and it's great for scraps because you're only using a little bit for each round. So if you find a bunch of different colors that are all going to coordinate into one project, like a blanket or whatever, you could do each flower slightly different colors with the same pattern to mix it up. You can use different greens. If you want, you could do like maybe do all the centers and the borders the same color, and then swap out the petal colors and the greens so they'll look kind of different. So again, to recap, what I just did is I chain 4, slip stitch it to form a ring, and then I chain 3, that counts as a double crochet. Then in our center ring, I did 15 double crochets, so we have a total of 16. And then we are going to slip stitch to join. And if anybody's crocheting along with me, let me know so I can go slow for the next part. And I'm just going to, whoops, come on. I'm going to get into the top of that chain. Sometimes working into the chain is a difficult thing to do. Here we go. So I've slip stitched to join it together, and then I'm going to chain 1, and that's going to kind of lock it in. That's not really going to count as a stitch. That's just going to be locking our stitch in. And then I'm going to trim off and then pull that out and then tighten it up. And then later on we could tuck that in. Our center here, this is not a magic circle, so I don't have to pull. I mean, I can pull a little bit. That'll tighten it up a little. But I've crocheted over my tail in the center, so I can go ahead and clip that center one because we're done with that. So that's round 1. And now we're going to switch over to round 2, which is the more pink. I got a lot of little balls of yarn, so that'll be perfect for this. So are we ready to go to round 2? I don't want to go ahead if everybody's not ready. get a lot of excess out so I'm not constantly pulling. Okay. You don't do flowers? They're fun though. Okay. So for round 2, you're going to put your hook into any of your stitches. I don't suggest putting where you joined. I'm going to actually go, let's see, let me just double check something here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, I'm going to go to the stitch just to the left of our join and put your hook in. And then I'm going to join with our next color. Just loop it around, bring it through. And then if you do a slip stitch going over both of your tail and your working yarn, and then drop your tail to the back, technically you have 2 loops on your hook, but we're going to treat those as 1 loop. And what we're going to do is, what is it saying here? Okay, we're going to chain up 2. That slip stitch that we made and those 2 chains counts as a double crochet. And in that very same stitch, we're going to do a double crochet right into that same stitch. Okay. That is going to act as our double crochet 2 together. Now we're going to chain 2. So after we've done our grouping, we chain 2. And in the very next stitch on our white row, we're going to do double crochet 2 together. That means you wrap your hook, go into that next stitch, bring it up, 3 on the hook, yarn over through 2. And now we're going to wrap our hook, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, yarn over through 2. And now we have 3 on the hook, and now we're going to yarn over and go through all 3. So we've crocheted those together. After we do that, then we're going to chain 1. And in the very next stitch, you're going to do double crochet 2 together. So we've got our double crochet 2 together in 1 stitch, chain 1, and then our very next stitch, we're going to do the same thing we just did. So we're going to wrap our hook, go into the next stitch, bring up a loop, yarn over through the first 2, wrap our hook, go into the very same stitch, bring up a loop. Now you have 4 on the hook, yarn over through 2, and now you have 3 on the hook and yarn over through all 3. So the grouping would be in 1 stitch you do 2 together, chain 1, and in the next stitch you do 2 together. After you do those 2, you chain 2, and now then you do the exact same thing that we just did. So in the next stitch, you double crochet 2 together, chain 1, and then in the stitch after that, you'll double crochet 2 together. So you're going to have these groups of these double crochet 2 together. There's 2 of them, and in between each of those will be 1 chain. And in between the next segment, pair of these little groups, in between each pair will be a chain of 2, if that makes sense. Another way to explain it is right here, between this group here and this group, there are 2, but between this group and this group, there's 1. So it's every other space, you're going to chain 1, and then every other space, the ones you skipped, you'll do 2. It'll make more sense as you do it. So I've chained 2 of them. The next stitch, I'm going to double crochet 2 together. and then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to go to the very next stitch, double crochet 2 together. Okay, so in between those I've chained 1, but now between this one and the one I'm going to make now, I'm going to chain 2. And you're going to just do that pattern all the way around. There's that. You're going to chain 1, and then do our next one. And now we're going to chain 2. And then our next stitch, do double crochet 2 together. Whoops. Help if I do it right. We're going to double crochet 2 together, chain 1, and then the next one double crochet 2 together. Now I'm going to chain 2. Get out more excess of my ball of yarn. And now I'm going to chain 2. We're going to do 2 together, chain 1, and then 2 together, and then chain 2. Okay, chain 2. And then I've got, let me just double check something here. 2 there, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, let me just double count. Okay, now we're doing our last one here. Weird where that stitch is because of that join. So I've chained 2 here. I'm going to go into the next stitch, and do our 2 together. And now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch this together at the top of this stitch here. And you should have 16 clusters. So these clusters are made up of the double crochet 2 together. So technically, what's 16 and 16? Was that 36? I think so. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It's 32. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So again, in between the clusters, you'll have chain 2, and then between these clusters, chain 1. Between these two, there's chain 2. Between these, chain 1. So you're just going to alternate in the chain stitches in between clusters. Want to be 2, want to be 1, want to be 2, want to be 1, and so on. And when you get to the end, after you've joined, do a chain, clip your yarn, pull it through and tighten it up. And that's round 2. Now you can choose your other yarn. Now I'm going to use this wine color, this, I don't know what you would call this, mauve. And again, you could do whatever color you want. If you wanted it to be yellows, if you wanted to do reds, oranges, blue, actually, purple, you name it. He'd even look good in different shades of white. Okay, round 3. We're going to find a chain space of 1. So that is a chain space of 1. That's a chain space of 2. We want to go in the chain space of 1. So I'm going to put my hook in that chain space, not into a stitch. I'm going to join my next color. And I'm going to join it with a slip stitch, but I'm going to do the slip stitch under both strands. Sometimes that will make a little bit more of a secure join. And then I'm going to drop my tail and tighten up. I'm going to treat that double loop as 1 loop. So now we're going to chain 1. So technically there's 2 chains there. The slip stitch is going to count as a chain, and we chained 1. And in that very same space, we're going to do a single crochet. So here I've got technically 2 chains, and then in that same space, do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 2. And now in this next space, and it's a 2 chain space, so it's a bigger space. In here, we're going to be doing something called a cluster. And a cluster is, let me just double check my... Okay, a cluster is kind of like we did here. Here we were doing 2 double crochets together. A cluster, all it is 3 double crochets together. So it's the same thing, but wider. So into this chain 2 space, we're gonna yarn over. Let's see if that will help. If we get a little more light, might help a little bit. Gonna yarn over, go into our space, bring up a loop, yarn over through 2, so that we did it once. Gonna wrap our hook, go into the same space, bring up a loop, yarn over through 2. That was twice, and I'll do it one more time. Wrap, go in, bring up a loop, yarn over through 2. So that's the 3rd time. We should have 4 loops on our hook, and then we're going to yarn over and go through all 4. That's a cluster. Then after we do that, we're going to... Wait a minute. Chain 2 space. Let me just double check my 1, 2, 2, cluster. Okay, now we're going to chain 1, and in that same chain 2 space, we're going to do exactly what we just did there. Do another cluster of 3. Again, in between each of these little clusters, got the one here and the one we're going to put in next. There's a chain that we just did. There'll be a chain separating. So into that same space, do another cluster, which is a cluster of 3. Whoops. Okay, so we did once. That's twice. And that's our 3rd time. We should have 4 on the hook. Yarn over through all 4. So anytime we have a chain 2 space, that's what we're going to put in there. So it'll be a group of 3 together, chain 1, and then a group of 3 together. Now we're going to chain 2. And in the next space, which is right here, we're going to single crochet into that space. Okay. And after the single crochet, we're going to chain 2. And now we have a chain 2 space, so it's the bigger hole. And we're going to do the cluster of 3 double crochets together. 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over through all 4. Chain 1, and do another cluster of 3 together. 1, 2, and 3, yarn over through all 4. Now we're going to chain 2. In the next space, do a single crochet, and then chain 2 more times. And now we have a chain 2 space. And then that gets our grouping of 3. That's our one group of 3. Chain 1. And now in that same space, do another grouping of 3. After we do that, chain 2. In the next space, do a single crochet, and then chain 2. We come to a two chain space. That's where we make our bigger petals. In between that and the other one, you do a chain 1. You make your other little, they call them clusters. It's just double crochet 3 together is all that it is. And when you make this, it's going to be wavy. It'll flatten out. And I'm going to chain 2. The next space gets a single. And then we're going to chain 2. You got a two chain space. So that means we do our double crochet 3 togethers. Now we're going to chain 2, single, followed by a chain 2, working our way around. Third one. A few more here left. Chain 2, do a single, chain 2. Okay, when we get over to here, what we did here, that's just a single crochet. Even though there's a couple chains, it's really not going to make a difference. So in this last 2 chain space, we're going to do our clusters that we've always been doing. Our double crochet 3 together, followed by a chain and then a double crochet 3 together. And after that, you're going to chain 2, and then you're going to slip stitch into your single crochet from where you started. And I know it looks like a mess. It's all wavy. We're going to slip stitch there. I'm going to do a chain to finish it to lock it off. And I'm going to cut my yarn, pull that out, tighten it up. And now we can flatten it out. The next couple rounds, it's going to flatten it out even more because we're going to be working on making it square in the next round. So that's round 3. We got a little flower. And again, when you're all done, you can weave in all your ends. Okay. Now it's the time to add our leaves. So we're going to slip stitch into any single crochet. Single crochet is basically in between these petals. So that's like the petal, and that's a petal. Right in here, we're going to put our hook into a single crochet. And you join with your slip stitch, or whatever joining method you want. That's the joining method I really use a lot. And then yarn over through both, drop our tail, tighten up. And now we're going to chain 2. And in that same single crochet that we just worked in, we're going to do a double crochet. Actually, that is the double crochet. Yeah, that counts as a double crochet. And in that same stitch, we're going to do a triple crochet, chain 2. Then in that same stitch, and I don't know if you could see, this is dark. I know it's dark yarn. We usually don't use dark yarn on here, but I need, and I know there's going to be a shadow. So we did a chain, we slip stitch and then chain 2. That counts as a double. Then we did a triple. Then after we did our triple, we chain 2. And in that same stitch, we're going to do another triple. And then a double. That's going to be our corner. Now we're going to chain 4. And then in the next single, which is over here, we're going to skip this petal altogether. I think that's not helping. Wish there was a way that I could make it so there isn't much of a shadow. No, it's the light. So we've chained 4. We're skipping this whole petal. And in our next single crochet, which is in between our petals, we're going to do a half double. So go into the stitch. We're going to wrap, go into our stitch, yarn, bring it up, yarn over through all 3. And now we're going to chain 4. And then in our next single, we're going to do a double, a triple, chain 2, a triple, and then a double. So we're going to form another corner here. So we've chained 4. In our next single, we're going to do a double, a triple, chain 2, then a triple, then a double, all in that same single crochet there. That forms another corner. Now we're going to chain 4. And in this next single crochet that we have, we're going to do a half double, and then chain 4. And then in our next single, we're going to make another corner. So that's a double, then a triple, chain 2, and then do a triple, and then a double. Whoops. Does anybody have any questions so far? I keep snagging on something. And I know it looks like a mess. Looks like a big mess, but it will work out in the end. So after we do that, we chain 4. And then in our next single, we're going to do a half double, because the half doubles are actually on the sides. Come on. And now we're going to chain 4. And then the next single crochet, we're going to do our corner, which is a double, then a triple, chain 2, a triple, and then a double. I know, when I first did this, I was like, okay, this looks horrible. It will all work out. Now we're going to chain 4, and in our next single crochet, which happens to be right here, we're going to move that tail out of the way. Actually, we could probably stitch on over the tail. I'm just going to move it out of the way. That's going to get a half double. Chain 4. And now we're going to slip stitch into the top of our double crochet from our first corner. So we count up 1, 2, 3 stitches and do a slip stitch to join. And I'm going to do one more chain to lock our stitch. Cut our tail, pull it out, tighten it up, and then keep flattening it. The green is only connected where the single crochets are. They're not connected to the pink petals. They're going to be free from the green, free from any of the other stitches. And obviously, with most blocks and most things, well, not most, a lot of things, it's going to look better when if you block it. I'm not a big blocker, but things do look better when you block them. Now we're ready for row 5, and row 5 is the easiest of them all, is the border. So we pick any corner, and I'm going to pick this corner. Put your hook in the corner space. We're going to do a slip stitch join. And then we're going to chain 2. That counts as a double crochet. And in that same corner, we're going to do another double crochet, chain 2, and in that same corner, do 2 more double crochets. So we've joined, basically chain 3, or slip stitch technically counts as a chain when we do it this way, and 2 more chains, that counts as a double crochet, another double, 2 chains, and then 2 doubles. Then in the next 2 stitches, which are your triple and your double from the previous row, each of those will get a double crochet. I'm going to move my white to my yarn bowl, because if not, it'd be all over the place. And then in this chain 4 space, in here, you're going to do 4 doubles into that big space. Come on. Can't get that last stitch to work. So after we do that, we're going to skip our half double here. And in the next chain 4 space, we're going to do 4 more doubles. And then the next 2 stitches, they're each going to get a double crochet. In our corner space, you're going to get 2 doubles. Two chains, and then 2 doubles. And we got 2 stitches there. Each of those 2 stitches will get a double. And then the same thing in the chain 4 spaces, each of those get 4 doubles. Messed up the stitch. Ah, my fingers aren't working right tonight. The next two stitches each get a double. And then we're going to do our corner, which is 2 doubles. 2 chains, followed by 2 doubles. And the next 2 stitches each gets a double. Get 4 doubles. Last row is super easy. All it is doubles, and you don't really gotta mess with it too much. Nothing complicated. Working on our last row here, our last side. Now we're going to end with each of the next 2 stitches from our leaves will be double crochet in each like usual. And then we're going to join to our first double that we had with a slip stitch. Then I'm going to chain 1 to secure it, clip it, pull out my hook, and then shape and form my square. Zoom out a little bit. And we got another square. Not too difficult to make, actually. Move that out of the way. Yep, and like I said, just imagine, and what I should have done tonight is I should have done it in different colors. But just imagine, I mean, it would look good all in the same color. But imagine if you did, like I said, if you did the centers and the border all the same, like all in white, and then you just change up your petals and maybe even your green for your leaves, and you could do like a garden patch type blanket or a bag, anything actually. That's what I'm calling the flower granny. Okay, that can go away. Where is... Okay, we can switch on over. Actually, before we do that, Projo, do you have a meme for tonight? Double check. that. There. Okay. Pop the meme up. Nobody puts baby in a corner unless it's corner to corner crochet. Wow, somebody actually crocheted that. Alrighty then. Okay. Thank you. Didn't know there was a dirty dancing crochet meme out there. Okay. This here is called the Flower Pop Square. It would look a lot better if this was blocked because my edges are wavy, but blocking would actually help it. And I think that this one and the next one are going to look good all in one color. It's more of a traditional looking pattern. All right, so you got to bear with me because my instructions are not the best on this pattern. How many rounds does this have first? Oh, you added the text. There's also a crochet piece of them practicing the lift. Oh, God. Let me check. This pattern is horrible. Round 1, round 2, round 3, 4. I gotta do something real quick so I don't get lost because the way this pattern happens to be is complicated. But 4 rounds or 5? I think it's 5 rounds. Okay, here's round 5. Or is it 6 rounds? 5 rounds. Okay. So to do this, we are going, you could do a magic ring, however you want to do your center. I'm going to do the chain 4 slip stitch to form a ring method. Four, slip stitch, join the ring. And then we are going to end up doing my instructions for this are really, really bad. Let me go to the source where I got the pattern from. And that might make it. Oh, wait, I downloaded it. Let's see where. Okay. No, I don't want it uploaded like that. I want it to open with that. Okay. Okay. Okay, got it. Okay. So we got our ring. However, you're going to make your ring, if you're going to do a magic circle or you're going to do your 4-chain slip stitch to make a ring, however, you're going to do that. Then you're going to chain 3, that counts as a double crochet. Then into the ring, you're going to do 2 more doubles. Then you're going to chain 3. Then you're going to repeat what you just did there 3 more times. So kind of like a basic granny square that we've been usually doing, but in the corners, instead of 2 chains, we're going to do 3. So now we've got our cluster of 3 double crochets, 3 chains, and now we're going to make 3 double crochets. Three chains, and then 3 doubles, and they're just regular ordinary doubles. You're not double crocheting them together. 3 separate standalone doubles, and then do 3 chains, and then do that one more time. 3 doubles into your ring, and then 3 chains, and then you're going to slip stitch to the top of your chain as normal to join. And that is round 1. And you've got a little square there. Okay. So now we're going to chain 1. And then in the next 3 double crochets, so the 3 double crochets in this grouping, each one is going to get a single crochet. So there'll be one there, and there. So you're going to do your stitch right here is going to be your first one. That's your first one. That's your second one. That's your third. So you're going to do single crochets in each of those 3 stitches. Why didn't that work? Hold on. Trying to find my stitches. One, that's 2, and that's 3. Okay, we got our 3 singles. And then in our corner, we're going to do 2 singles, 2 chains, and 2 singles. So 2 singles, 2 chains, and then 2 singles. And that's our repeat. So this is all singles in this round. So each of these 3 stitches, they're each going to get a single. 1, 2, 3. And then in our corner, we're going to do 2 singles, 2 chains, and then 2 singles. And then repeat it again. Again, at any point, if anybody has any questions or comments or anything, And when you get to the end here, we're going to join with a slip stitch right here into that end. And that's round 2. So you just made it slightly bigger, but you got single crochets all the way around. Oh, there's actually 7 rounds to this. Oh, I didn't get all the... Okay, that's fine. Round 3. We're going to slip stitch into the next single crochet, which will be the single crochet. We're going to slip stitch into here, which is that single is sitting on top of the middle of the double. So the middle double one's here. This one here is the single that's sitting on top. So we're going to slip stitch into that one there. So we're in the middle of our side. And then in that same stitch, we are going to do a 5 double crochet shell stitch. So we're going to do 5 double crochets in that stitch. And we're going to make a shell. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's going to be our shell. Not really the best looking shell right now. And we're going to skip 2 single crochets. And in our last single crochet here, the one right here before the corner, we're going to do a single. And then in our corner space is right here. We're going to do 1 single, 2 chains, and 1 single. So in the corner, you do 1 single, 2 chains, and 1 single. In the very next stitch, you do a single. Then we're going to skip 2 single crochets, skip those 2, and in the third one, we're going to do a shell. 1, and the shell's 5 doubles. 2, 3, 4, 5. I got a knot in my yarn, but I'm just going to ignore it. This is just a sample. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches. And in that third stitch, we're going to do a single. And in our corner, we're going to do a single, 2 chains, and a single. In the next stitch, we'll do a single. Skip 2 stitches. In that third one, we're going to do a shell. Five. Skip 2, and in the third one, do a single. And in our corner, we're going to do a single, 2 chains, and a single. The next stitch gets a single. Skip 2, and then that third one, do a shell. Five. Skip 2, and the third one, do a single. In the corner, do a single, 2 chains, and in that same corner, do a single. The next stitch gets a single. And then we are going to slip stitch to that first double crochet of that shell. And that is round 3. So you kind of see it's a square, but it's turning the edges around it because it's the shells. Row 4, we're going to slip stitch until we get to the middle stitch of our shell. So that there's 5 here. We're going to slip stitch to the top, to the tallest one. So we just got to slip stitch 1 stitch and then 1 more stitch. So we're at the top of that shell. And in that stitch, we're going to do a double crochet, chain 3. We're going to skip 2 double crochets, so those 2 stitches there. We're going to skip the first single crochet, and then in the very next 2 double crochets, if I can find them, we're going to skip, 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 and then the next 2, I think there's 2 there. Wait, no. Skip 2 double crochets, skip a single. Okay, there isn't 2 there. So we're going to skip the 2 double crochets in the shell, skip the next single crochet, and in the following single crochet, you're going to do a double crochet, you're going to form this open space, and then in our corner, which our corner is really little here, but our corner is right there, we're going to do 2 doubles, 2 chains, and 2 doubles. 1 double, 2 double, 2 chains, and in that same corner we'll do 2 doubles, in the very next stitch we'll do a double, and now we're going to chain 3. We're going to skip the next 3 stitches. So one's a single and the next 2 are doubles. Then we'll be at the top of our shell, and in the top of that shell we're going to do a double, and that's the repeat. So now we're going to chain 3, skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, in the 4th stitch do a double, in our corner do 2 doubles, two chains, and 2 doubles, and in the next stitch do a double, chain 3, skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and in the next stitch do a double. I've done 2 corners. Now we're going to chain 3, skip 3 stitches, and in the 4th stitch do a double. In the corner do 2 doubles. Come on. 2 chains, and then 2 doubles. That was a triple. Not triple, that was a half double. I don't want to do a half double. In the next stitch, do a double, chain 3, skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th, do a double. And now we have to work on our last corner. Chain 3, skip 3, and in the 4th one, do a double. corner, do 2 doubles. Keep doing half doubles. That's our 2 doubles. Chain 2. 2 more doubles in our corner. The next stitch gets a double. And now we're going to chain 3. And we're going to slip stitch into the top of our double crochet. That's the one that we started with. The one we started with on this round. Come on. If I can find the stitch. We're going to slip stitch right into that. So that is round 4. And we're starting to get the lacy look. We got 3 more rounds. Round 5, in this space that we made, that large space, we're going to single crochet, chain 5, we're going to skip 2 double crochets, and in the third double crochet, do a single, and in our corner, we'll do a single, chain 2, and a single. So in that corner, do a single, chain 2, and a single. The very next stitch, we're going to do a single crochet. Now we're going to chain 5. And then in our big hole here, we are going to single crochet into that. And that is our, and then we're going to chain 1. And that's our repeat. So in our next big hole, our chain 3 space hole, we do a single crochet, chain 5. In the third stitch, so skip the first 2, the third stitch, we're going to do a single. In the corner, we'll do a single, 2 chains, and a single. And in the very next stitch, we do a single. We're going to chain 5. And in our big chain space, we'll do a single crochet and chain 1. Again, the repeat is in our big chain space. You get a single, chain 5. In the third stitch, gets a single. In the corner, gets a single and 2 chains and another single all in that corner. The next stitch gets a single, chain 5, single in your chain 3 space, and then chain 1. We'll do that all one more time. In our chain 3 space, you're going to do a single, chain 5, skip 2 stitches. In the third one, you're going to get a single. The corner gets a single, 2 chains, and 1 single. The next stitch gets a single, chain 5. Our chain 3 space gets a single. And then we're going chain 1, and now we can slip stitch Okay, you don't need to do that last chain. You could just slip stitch right into that single crochet. That there is row 5. in row 6, in that same space that we joined, just right there, we are going to, there's a chain here. There's a little, yeah, because it's mostly chains. It's mostly chains, because anything that's lacy like that, you've got empty space, so you don't have to stitch into that if it's a hole, and those lacy spaces are formed by chains. You're just stitching into these chain spaces. So anything that's really lacy looks complicated, which it can be, and looks intimidating, but it's mostly chains. Row 6, okay, in that same space where we joined, there's a little hole here. And in that hole, you're going to double crochet. If I can get this yarn to work with me. So we have a double crochet, chain 3. We're going to skip that single crochet that's right here. And in this chain 3 space, then this space here, we are going, it's actually a chain 5 space, I'm sorry. In that chain 5 space, we'll do 3 double crochets into this space. So again, we did a double crochet from where we joined, chain 3, and in this next space, we're going to do 3 doubles. Three doubles. The next 2 stitches, which are right here, these 2 stitches, they're each going to get a double crochet. The first stitch is right here on that edge, and the second stitch is right there. Brings us to the corner, and in the corner it's going to get 2 doubles, 2 chains, and 2 doubles. 1 double, 2 doubles, 2 chains, and then 2 doubles. The next 2 stitches are each going to get a double. In this chain 5 space, you're going to get 3 doubles. And then we are going to chain 3. We're going to skip that single crochet. And then in this space, the space that's right here, that gets a double. And now we're going to chain 3. And then in this space, 3 doubles. 2, 3. Let me just refer back to my pattern to make certain, okay? The next 2 stitches, these 2 stitches here, they'll each get a double crochet. The corner is going to be 2 doubles, 2 chains, 2 doubles. It's a double. That's a double. 2 chains. And then you get 2 more doubles in that corner. The next 2 stitches, it's a stitch here and there's a stitch there. They're each going to get a double. So here's the 1 stitch. A lot of times, and this goes for most greenie squares, and when you do your corner, that first stitch sometimes gets hidden in with all of your stitches. So your first stitch is right there. There's 1, and then there is 2. And then in the chain space, they're going to get 3. And we are going to do, I was going to look at my here, chain 3. Skip that single, and in this chain, little chain space here, as we chained one right there in that chain one space gets a double. And now chain 3. In this chain space, you get 3 doubles. And then the next 2 stitches each get a double. So this first stitch is right there. And the next stitch gets a double. Your corners get 2 doubles, 2 chains, 2 doubles. Two doubles, 2 chains, 2 doubles. The next 2 stitches each get a double. Your chain space gets 3 doubles. Three. We're going to chain 3. The next chain space, which is this one little chain here, we'll get a double crochet. Chain 3. Again, this chain space will get 3 doubles. This is the last corner we're working on for this round. The next 2 stitches each get a double. The corner gets 2 doubles. It also gets 2 chains, and then it gets 2 more doubles. Next 2 stitches that are right here each get a double. Come on. Work with me, yarn. Keep slipping off the hook. In this space, 3 doubles. And then we are going to chain 3. And then we're going to slip stitch to the top of this double. 3. So remember, on this side we have 3 chains because they're going to match on each side. It's going to be symmetrical. So to find the top of it, you get rid of those, not get rid of, but you count those 3 chains, cover up with your thumb, and slip stitch to the top of that stitch right there. And it should be right in there. And slip stitch to join. And that is row 6. So it's starting to take shape. It's starting to look like something. Last row is row 7. Okay, in that double crochet right where we joined, we're going to do another double crochet right into that same stitch. Another double crochet. In this chain space, we're going to do 2 doubles. Wait a minute. Hold on, I got to look at something real quick. Okay. Okay. So in that chain space, we did 2 doubles. In the next 7 double crochets, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 right here between where we're at in the corner. In each of those, there'll be a double crochet. So that's real easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we're at the corner. At the corner is going to get 2 doubles, 2 chains, and 2 doubles. 2 doubles, 2 chains, and 2 doubles. And you repeat it the opposite way. The next 7 are each going to get a double. So they're each going to get a double. So there'll be 7 in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and number 7. And in this space here, there'll be 2 doubles. In this double crochet that we have, in that double crochet, there will be a double. So you put the double on top of the double. In the next space, gets 2. And then the next 7 each get 1. Seven. We're at the corner, so that means you get 2 doubles, 2 chains, and 2 doubles. And then the next 7 each get 1. B, 6, 7. Be 2 in here, 1 in the double, and then 2 in the next space. There's our 2 on our chain. Oh, come on. 2 in our chain space, 1 on top of our double, and then 2 in our chain space. Each of the next 7 get 1. Seven. Corner gets 2. It's 2 chains, and then 2 more doubles. And then each of the next 7 get 1 individually. Okay, I got 1 more corner to do. So each of these spaces get 2, and the double crochet in the middle gets 1. So we do 2 in that space. The double gets 1. And then the next space gets 2. Each of the next 7 gets 1. Alrighty, we just got this one part of this corner left. In the corner hole, we get 2 doubles, 2 chains, and 2 doubles. And then each of the next 7 stitches get 1 as usual. 2, 7. Our next space gets 2. And now we slip stitch into the top of our double crochet that's right here. If I can get it into the correct strands, as close as possible. And then slip stitch, chain 1 to secure it, cut our yarn, pull it through, pull it tight. This definitely is something that needs to be blocked because it's so lacy. That's your square. I can see these done in a bunch of them all in the same color and then joined together for a blanket. I can see this done with really thin crochet thread. A bunch of them joined together as like a table runner or a tablecloth. I can also see it in not necessarily, I wouldn't do these two colors together, but complementary colors all in the same tones, like muted tones, like a lot of like taupes and grays and creams, and then stitching them together. So, but yeah, this definitely would need to be blocked. Most definitely needs to be blocked because it's an open, lacy thing. Looks complicated. It's not really that complicated. It's mostly chains and double crochets, and works up somewhat fast. And it forms these little flower. That's what they call it, flower pop. Any questions? Okay. I know I have another one scheduled for tonight, but I am very warm. It's warm, and working with this yarn, my fingers are almost sweaty. So I think, let me just check the other one. Let me look into what I have for the rest of the week. Okay. I have an idea. Why is that one so much bigger than the blue one? They're basically the same yarn. Maybe my tension was off a little. Anyway. So I technically have 5 more squares planned for this week, but I only have 4 of them as samples. What I'm thinking about doing, and possibly either tomorrow night doing 3, or maybe Saturday. If not, I think this is what we're going to end up doing. Tomorrow we're going to do 2 squares. Saturday we'll do 2 squares. And Sunday, before we do the temperature blanket, we're going to do 1 more granny square. You're going to get a little bonus since I didn't have one evening of Granny Week, and this old lady took over my channel. So I think that's what we're going to do. So for tomorrow, this here was going to be for tonight. This is the Victorian lace square, or the Victorian lace granny. Similar to what we just made, but different. I can see this as a table runner or tablecloth also if it's a thinner weight thread. Wouldn't use worsted weight yarn for it. So we'll do this tomorrow. That's the Victorian one. And then also we will do tomorrow the Birds of a Feather. I don't know why it's called Birds of a Feather, but this is a cool one where most of it is a solid granny. Basically, the corners are all solid granny. It's just the middle stitches of each row are puff stitches. So you've got this, it's raised, it's puffed. So you got this little extra detail just in the middle of each. And this, well, the complete center's puffs off also. So I think that will be for tomorrow. I really like this one. This one works kind of quick. And then for Saturday, the names for Saturdays are very similar. So there's the granny in 2 colors. So this is not just every row change. It's a lot of color work where you have to carry your yarn over, and I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you how to carry your yarn over, and you don't actually cut. You keep 2 colors going at the same time, kind of like corner to corner if you're doing a graph of changing colors. It's very similar to that. So that's granny in 2 colors, or you can call it on where the rounds are on point, or the corners are separate than the rest. Well, not really, but anyway. And then the other one is called the 2 color granny. So that's granny in 2 colors. This is the 2 color granny. We'll have to come up with new names, but this is kind of like half and half, or like when you were a kid and you would have a sandwich and you would want, it would always taste better when you cut it diagonally than when you cut it in half. So I guess we're going to call this the sandwich granny. So I'll show you, and the same thing, you're going to have to carry your yarn over for parts of it. So those will be the 2, and this one isn't perfect. Mine was a little rough on that corner. So that's for Saturday. And then Sunday, for the extra one that I'm going to throw in, I have to make a sample for it. It's the magical lantern. There's 2 different versions of it. I'm going to pick one version. That will be Sunday before I did the temperature blanket. And Sunday, since I didn't do a Sunday stream this past Sunday, I got 2 weeks to do on that. I haven't worked on it at all off stream. So I think that's what we're going to do. I'm very warm right now. I'm very, ugh. And hopefully nobody else is going to hack my stream and take over. So I think we're going to end that there. And let me close that off. While we're at it, let's see if we've got anybody we could raid. Wait a minute. Where's this at? Where are we? Wait a minute. Let's go to here. And if we don't have anybody to raid, then we won't raid. I don't want to go to that one. Mrs. Beekeeper is on, but she's playing Minecraft, so we're not going to do that. Yeah, I don't see anybody to raid. I think we're just gonna end it at that. I will be on tomorrow. Fingers crossed that